Hello, what's going on, everyone? It's KIM in the SAV, Kim out of Savannah, Georgia. And in this video, I wanted to talk about something that has caught my eye recently. I don't watch a lot of TV, but I could not watch Surviving R. Kelly, which premiered like 3 or 4 nights ago, I think it is. Anyway, I've just been completely enthralled in it. And this is not a commentary on R. Kelly because we all know he's a pervert. We've known it. Since Jesus was a child, right? But as it relates to my reaction to the reactions of many people after watching that documentary, that docu-series that they're calling it, that's what I want to discuss. It's going to be super brief, but I used to work in higher education, and what is baffling to me is a lot of people responding to the parents of these girls and saying things like, where were the parents at? You don't know what's going on. Da 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 da. If that was my child, I this and I that and all this other stuff. And it's amazing because and a lot of parents have vocalized that y'all don't know what's going on with your children, and it really is the truth. I know any child any child is going to do whatever it is they want to do if they want to do it. Any person is going to do whatever they want to do if they really want to do it. They're going to find a way. And this is about more than just skip day. But nowadays I really find it interesting that so many people are throwing stones at these parents because your kids have even more means to get things done. When you think about Uber, Lyft, and all of the apps, and literally the world is at their fingertips in the palm of the hand with the smartphone that you bought them, it's a totally different ball game than when many of these girls were being sucked into R. Kelly. So you think about it right now, like a lot of kids can get in the DMs of celebrities, and a lot of these celebrities are answering directly. So your kids nowadays, they don't have to go to a concert. They don't have to do half the stuff that these people had to do to get to R. Kelly. So for a lot of parents to say, oh, well, I know that could never happen to my child, I wouldn't let it go down like that, to me is just kind of sort of asinine. Are there things that can be done? Absolutely. So when I look at this through a parent's eyes, and I'm just going to say, like, I get it. But this is why a lot of the stuff that I study, it resonates with me so strongly when I see stuff like the R. Kelly verdict. The R. Kelly situation and how these girls got sucked in. And one of the things that my mentor always says, he always says this. He says in his neighborhood, the people who had the money were the drug dealers. And so those are the people that everybody looked up to. Those became the neighborhood heroes. Here is the deal, guys. If you and this is not about money or celebrity or fame as much as it is about power. There are some young girls right now in that same type of situation with a guy, and it's Joe Blow down the street, right? They're not nearly as famous as R. Kelly and probably never will be. So it's more so about the power dynamic between two people and a person feeling like somebody else has more power over them and they are powerless. That's what it's really about. It's about power. So when I think about like how my mentor was saying the people in his neighborhood that had all the money, they were the drug dealers. Again, power. So because the drug dealers had the money, they had the women, they had the cars, they had all the things that the young kids wanted. So a lot of kids aspired to be drug dealers because they saw that power dynamic. They saw the drug dealers as powerful. And this mentor of mine, he is always, I remember when I first heard him say, it's your job to become your kid's hero. It's my job as a parent for me to be the person that my son looks to and says, I want to be like my mom. Okay, meaning I'm not supposed to tell him you can be all that you can be and then I'm not doing it. No, I'm supposed to be the person that he looks to and aspires to be like. I'm supposed to make connections. I'm supposed to have resources for him. And people are like, money is the root of all evil. It's not money. It's the love of money and also it's the lack of money. A lot of people do not understand that the lack of money causes a lot of people to do things more so than money. It's people, it's oftentimes poor kids, it's oftentimes kids that don't have, they know they have nobody else they can go to for a situation, that often end up being like sugar babies, sugar daddies, sugar mamas, whatever the case may be. And this is not just for little girls. There are little boys that are being sucked into this world too, that get older women to basically finance their way through life. And anytime you have a person who needs something and they don't have it and they can't think of another way to do to get it, they are prey. They can easily fall prey to someone who can give them that thing. It can be very, very innocent. As a matter of fact, it usually starts out super duper innocent. Super duper innocently. I remember when I was in college, I was working in Underground, Atlanta, and I would often work very, very long shifts. On my feet all day long. And one night I think I worked like 12 hours or something crazy, and I was like, man, I gotta catch two trains to the dorm, and I was exhausted, my feet hurt, and a guy who also worked in Underground Atlanta offered me a ride, and I was like, oh, thank God. And because I didn't have a car, I took the ride, and this was somebody I know. Most situations happen with somebody you know, but this was somebody I know, and thank God nothing happened. But I remember in that, nothing big happened, but I remember in that ride feeling very uncomfortable. He said some things that made me very uncomfortable, and I just felt like oh my gosh, I got myself into the situation. And it was a very weird situation. It was a very weird feeling. And you always say, man, if such and such happened to me, if a guy does this to me, or if somebody does this to me, this is what I'm gonna do. And then, but you do not know until you're in that situation. And a lot of times when you're in that situation, you're so caught off guard by what the person is saying or what the person is doing, that you go into panic mode, you go into fight or flight mode, and you lose the capability to think clearly. So you don't do all those things that you said you would hypothetically do when you were in your right frame of mind. But my point is, it was the fact that I did not have a car, and I accepted a ride from him that got me in that position to begin with. Not saying that it was my fault that I didn't have a car. What I'm saying is simply this. When I look at the R. Kelly docuseries, right, and I look at these young girls, and a lot of them, like I said, they come from different backgrounds. R. Kelly definitely, just like many other people who seek power over a power position over another person, they target specific individuals that they know are weak and weak in some respect, and oftentimes that weakness stems from some area where they're lacking. It could be lacking love, it could be lacking money, it could be lacking connections, it could be lacking whatever the case may be. There's a void, right? And then the person who wants to exert power over that person, over the other person, basically gives them access to, offers to fill that void. So like I said, I look through everything that I see. That docuseries, I look through the eyes of a mother, and I look through the eyes of an entrepreneur. So what I took from that, and like I said, watching the other parents, they don't get it. But what I took from that is that it is my job. It is my responsibility. Yes, I need to let my child know that he is loved, but I also need to be able to provide for him adequately so that he doesn't feel like he has to put himself in any type of compromising situation in any point in time to try to get anything from anybody else. And somebody saying, well, Kim, you can't fulfill all of those needs. No, but I can doggone sure try. I can do more than just say, all I can do is all I can do, son. I'm a single mom, and that's the best. And I'm not knocking single moms, but a lot of those girls went and they met with R. Kelly. They lied to their parents. Some of them came from a single parent household, skipping school. The mom was at work. And I know parents right now that have their kids getting on a Lyft or an Uber from school, sitting at their desk talking about, yeah, but I'm watching them on the app. Ma'am, if something goes down, what you gonna do? Last I checked, you don't have an airplane to fly you from your job to wherever they are on the app. So whatever, if the app deviates from its course, what you gonna do? Call the police. By the time they get there, what are you talking about? So it was just surprising to me to see the reactions of so many parents. I had some notes here that I'm looking at, because this is just a fascinating series to me. But like I said, You have to be the hero so that your kids don't look to another celebrity or another person. Or I mean, when I'm hanging around a lot of wealthy people and I look at their children, they're not fascinated by the same things that children in poor and middle class families are so in awe of. They're not. They're just like, whatever. And a lot of wealthy kids get a lot of slack from that, from other people, because it's like, oh, they don't value anything, they don't care about anything. No, it's not that. It's just that, you can value stuff without being stopped in your tracks by it. Okay. And so, like with my son, I take him to mansions, and when we were in Atlanta, I would take him to the luxury car dealerships, super mega homes. I would take him to all these places so that it would become the norm for him, not so shocking for him. He went from being like, oh my gosh, is this a castle, to being like, this mansion is not as good as the other one, mommy. And that's the way it should be. But a lot of people that are not accustomed to those things, yes, they're going to be sucked in. And yes, they're going to turn a blind eye to the things that are not desirable because they are so blinded by the things that are. The other thing I took from that is be present. And I kind of touched on that already, but and when I say be present, it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to control everything that your child does, because literally I wake my son up in the morning, I take him to school, I bring him back home from school, I do his homework with him, make sure he's taking a bath right now, but in the evenings it's all about him. It's solely, that's the only reason why I'm doing this Facebook Live right now, is because he's taking a bath, but it's all about him. And even still, y'all, there are times when he wakes up before me and I'm like, where's he at? That sucker done woke up and somewhere on his little device, and then I constantly have to check his device. And I mean, like, you just cannot be all places all the time. But I'm telling you, now more than ever, time freedom is going to be so important, because your children have access to so many things through their devices. So parents that are working 1, 2, 3, 4 jobs, they got 2 parents in the household, 1 parent in the household, it does not matter. Be present for whatever period of time you are in the home. Turn off the TV, talk to your children, try to find out what's going on. A lot of the parents, to me, especially the couples, and I might catch slack for this, but a lot of the parents seem like they were involved in their children's lives and they did actually love their children. I'm not going to say that everybody was selling their children, because I just can't fathom that personally. But I'm not saying that talking to your kids is the solution and it's going to squash everything. But I'm saying it's better than not being there. And as I look at more and more parents who make excuses for not being around for their children, like, well, I got to work, I got to pay the bills, I got to do this, I got to do that. Yeah. But you got to find another way to get it done, because right now your child is raising themselves. So who are you to cast a stone at the parents of the kids who got sucked into the R. Kelly sex cult, when your child, you really, again, don't know what they're doing? I mean, my mom was present in our lives as a single mother. She had 3 kids. I shared a room with my sister. And still, there were some things that I didn't even know that my sister did until we were grown. And we shared a freaking room. And I was like, she was like, yeah, girl, I blah, 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 blah. I went here or I went there. And I was like, you did? When? And she was like, when you sleep, I snuck out, or whatever the case. And I'm just like, what? And we shared a room, and I didn't even know. And I would have said to you, I'm around my sister all the time, I know everything that she does. But clearly I don't. Clearly I didn't. So it's pretty hard to, say that you know everything about someone all the time. But we got to do better. We got to buy back our time, y'all. We got to be present in our children's lives. We got to do everything we can to possibly mitigate. And like I said, I'm not saying them getting sucked into R. Kelly. Them getting sucked into anybody. Anybody. And this is not something that was just specific to young kids. Right now, there's a grown woman or a grown man somewhere who's living with someone who treats them like crap because they need help paying the $500 rent. So, for people to act like this is just crazy that these young girls let R. Kelly do them like this. Some of y'all, they called it Stockholm Syndrome. And it's not funny. They called it Stockholm Syndrome, right? Where basically like a person is like kidnapped, I believe. And then they fall in love with their captor. And in so many words, again, this is looking through my entrepreneurial eyes. And just based on the conversations that I have with people every single day, I think there needs to be a version of Stockholm Syndrome for employees. because every single day I talk to people who basically are kind of sort of in the same situation, and you could be like, well, Kim, no, it's not the same because they're not having sex. Hopefully you're not having sex with your boss, but let's just look at the bottom line here. These young ladies were in a situation and they caught a lot of flack. I saw a lot of people posting things online like, well, if he was letting them go home every few days, why did they return back to his mansion to be disrespected, to be no, I put your stuff in there for you to go ahead and handle everything in the bathroom. So do that for me, please. Okay, while I finish up this Facebook Live.
Hello, Facebook people.
So, come on, baby. Okay, thank you. So here's my whole thing.
Say yes.
No, I do not want to tag you in this video. Okay?
Please.
No, listen. Go get dressed.
What happens if you tag a person?
We'll talk about it later. Go get dressed, please. So here's the whole deal. A lot of people right now go to an employer. They go home every night, but then they get up in the morning and they go to an employer that disrespects them, that they don't like. They don't like being there. They don't want to be there. I have heard people say they feel like they're a slave at their job. I have literally heard people say that their boss has spit on them, threatened them, and what are they doing it for? Again, it's the power dynamic. Someone has power over you and you feel powerless. This is less about money, less about sex, less about fame, less about all that other stuff that people are trying to make it about, and more so about power. Once you get in a position where you feel like you are powerless and you're in that position with a person who feels like they are more powerful than you, it's very, very easy to get sucked into a situation that you feel like you can't get out of, even when you have the full faculties and capabilities. And I use that very loosely because I do feel like those young ladies were brainwashed, and I also feel like a lot of people nowadays are in multiple situations where they're brainwashed, whether it be a relationship, whether it be a friendship, whether it be a partnership, whether it be a a job, whatever. It's that power dynamic. I feel like a lot of people are in situations that they hate. They have the power to get out, but they have been just basically kind of like beat down so much, so long, threatened, and made to feel like they don't have the power to get out, that they've just stopped trying. I know people who hate their jobs and they don't even put in applications to get a new job. They just go every day and get a pit in, that ball and that lump in the pit of their stomach every single night, and every single morning they get up and they drag themselves out of bed to a job where they're disrespected, where they're humiliated, where they're not valued, and they come home and do it all over again. And to me, it's really not that much. It's not a far cry from what those young ladies experience, except for the sexual aspect. And if anything, the sexual aspect, to me, that makes it more understandable for those young ladies, because as a female, anytime you open yourself, and some of those girls were virgins too, so anytime you open yourself up to someone sexually, that's a whole nother beast. That's a whole nother level of, power right there. So if you're not sleeping with your boss, then you really have no excuse to be in the situation that you're in, where you feel like you're a paycheck prisoner or hostage to your employer. So my whole point is, let's stop passing judgment on the real criminal here is R. Kelly. He's crazy. He's a pervert. But the parents, I mean, we all have known some people, and you say, well, I wouldn't do it with my child. Okay. I'm not disputing that. But as far as people out here saying, clearly, where were the parents at? These people weren't in their parents. These parents weren't in their children's lives. They should be all up in their children's business. Trust me, there's something going on with your kid right now that you know nothing about, because I know I'm around my kid all of the time, and he still can get into some things that I'm like, well, when did you leave the room, or when did you this, or when did you that, or when did you how did you find your device back? And it's just sneaky little stuff right now because he's only 9. But with time, I'm sure those efforts are going to be graduated because that's just the way it is. But I'm going to do everything in my power along the way to be present, to, like I said, to outfit him with the resources so that he's not enamored with money or feeling like he has to do anything to get the money that he needs because he can't get it from any place else. So if somebody says, hey, I'll pay you this to do that, I don't ever want him to feel like, well, it is easy money. Never, ever, 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 ever. It is my success is my duty for my child. He has to see me as the hero, not some celebrity, not some athlete, not anybody else. The child's hero should be in the home. We should be the people that are able to position our children in a way so that they are not trying to fill a void with something that someone else has, thereby putting them in a position of powerlessness. Yeah, powerlessness. I was like, is that a word? When they are with someone who is seeking to be more powerful than them. And that's what I took from the whole reactions to the surviving R. Kelly. Hey, what's going on, Paula Dawn Coltrane? She said, amen. I'm happy you agree with me on that. I'm sure not everybody will. I look forward to other people's opinions. But again, I'm looking through that. I'm looking at the docuseries through the eyes of a mother and through the eyes of an entrepreneur. And I really don't think too many people are in a position to throw stones at either the young ladies or the parents. You never know what you would do until you are in a particular person's situations. I know I've had to have a slice of humble pie like many a times throughout my 39 years, and I'm sure I'm not done eating it, but just I always look for the lesson in things, and that's the lesson I took from it. Very interesting docuseries. I'm happy that it was put out there because I think a lot of great discussions have come from it. I'm looking forward to hear what you want to contribute to the conversation, so leave that comment below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.